So, have you heard of HiDrB.com? This is a website where you can go to find out where unused doses of the vaccine are for you to get at the end of the day.
It's
And
incredible.
the founder, Cyrus Masumi, founder of Dr. B, is joining us now. Cyrus, how are you this morning?
Great. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us. I have so many questions about this. First of all, is this okay? Should we feel bad about doing this, or is this okay to do if they're unused vaccines? We're not jumping the line in any way?
Well, actually, the way that Dr. B works is we are using all local government priority criteria to determine who gets the alerts first. So we're going down the queue. And so the folks that are the most vulnerable, who are the 1As, get prioritized over the 1Bs, over the 1Cs in perpetuity.
I
So
see.
not only is it okay, but it'll help resolve some of the inequities that have been latent of this pandemic.
Now, if someone doesn't respond immediately in the first few queues, does it keep going down the queues?
Absolutely. So it's dynamic. So depending on how much time is left, vaccine providers indicate to us how many doses they have and when they expire, and our algorithms in the background will determine the appropriate number of people to text message. So if there's 4 hours until they expire, we can give people 15 minutes to respond. If there's only 22 minutes, we're going to blast a bunch of people because we just need to make sure that every single dose is optimally maximized.
So, what happens in a situation where, okay, I get the blast, I go in, I get the vaccine, it came to me, I'm thrilled, I've got the first dose, it's a 2-dose vaccine, and I'm uncertain about when I get my second dose?
So providers all across the country, when you get your first dose, they typically are scheduling you for your second dose right there and then. And so that problem is something that we've done. Pretty much every provider in the country is doing that.
So on the spot, you've gotten your first one, you can get your second one.
Exactly.
It's quite brilliant. Tell me about the immediacy of all of this. How does it typically work?
So in terms of you're asking in terms of when they send out doses?
When they send out doses, how much time you've got, how quickly people have been responding, just a little forensics and
Sure.
background on it.
So firstly, what many people don't realize is that patients are canceling or no-showing on their vaccine appointments 20 to 30% of the time.
Wow.
So there's this last-minute scramble that's happening at vaccine sites all across the country. And one of a few things are happening. Vaccine providers are just giving the shot to whoever happens to be there. So someone buying potato chips at a pharmacy just gets the vaccine ahead of some elderly person who may need it. Or people who are physically or financially able to wait in line will queue up, and that just doesn't seem fair because some people are not able to do that. Or alternatively, a vaccine provider who, if they're in a total crunch, they're going to start text messaging people on their phones. And then you have to know a vaccine provider. That doesn't seem fair. So the worst case scenario, the vaccine goes to waste. And this is the most scarce resource we have on earth at this point. It can't go to waste, and it has to be optimally allocated. So we effectively wanted to create this universal standby system for anyone in the country to be able to use. And we launched the patient-facing side in the end of January, and we started giving doses about 3 weeks ago now. And what we did during that interim time period is we made sure that people from the Black, Brown, Hispanic, and Native communities heard about it because we knew that the list would go viral. We wanted to make sure that the communities that have been the most negatively impacted by coronavirus had a bit of a leg up here and heard about it on a fair platform with everybody else. Now, the element of when the alert goes out, as I was indicating earlier, there's many different use cases for how Dr. B is now being used in the wild. There is the use case of the vaccine that's about to expire. And in that world, a provider comes, all they need to do is indicate, I have 25 doses, they have 30 minutes left, and Dr. B will manage all of the background in figuring out what is the appropriate number of people to text message. It'll go through all the local government priority criteria, and with all of the criteria within a given priority band, if you, Ryan, and I are the same age, same job, same health conditions, same zip code, and you sign up before me, you'll get notified before me as an any standby
This filter
system.
happens in nanoseconds then.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's it. So I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, okay, it's called hidoctorb.com. What's the downside? Why wouldn't someone go there just to roll the dice?
There is no downside. This is something where it's a way for everyone to make sure that the entire country, eventually the entire world, gets vaccinated as quickly as possible. And we're not going to be safe. You don't just need to get the shot yourself. We all need to get the shot because this virus is mutating. As you know, there's 2,500 different known mutations of coronavirus, and there's multiple for which these current vaccines are less effective with. And we as Americans won't even be safe until the entire world is vaccinated. And that's not expected until 2023. So there's a lot of shots that we need to give. This is not just a 350 million person problem. This is a 6 billion person problem.
Is there an additional fee?
It's totally free for consumers. It's totally free for vaccine providers. I've been funding it out of my own pocket.
Wow.
Whoa.
What did you do before this?
So I started a company called ZocDoc, which I ran for 10 years. It's a healthcare platform people use to access healthcare appointments. I also started a platform called Shadow that reunites lost pets in about 100 counties across the United States.
So you had a blueprint in a way for something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like using, everyone in my family is a doctor, except me. I was never the organic chemistry
You're
student.
the entrepreneur.
So I believe in building things that help people.
That's
right.
amazing.
And so this is just one instance of that. This is the crisis of our generation, where more people have died from COVID than died during World War II in our country. And so, being a technologist, being an entrepreneur, and someone who's built things before, I thought that I could solve this problem. And I happen to be on the board of the public health school at Columbia University, where I've been helping Dr. Ian Lipkin, who was one of the first Americans to be notified by the Chinese government when coronavirus broke out. He was in China when this happened. So this whole thing spawned from a conversation that he and I had in early January when we were hearing reports of vaccine just not being suboptimally allocated. And between his knowledge of being one of the world's top virologists and my background as an entrepreneur and technologist, we thought that we could work together and solve this problem.
It's magical, Cyrus. Thank you for coming on to explain it to us. Again, if you want to check that out, if you've been listening and you can't wait to get the vaccine, as he said, no downside, hidoctorb.com. Thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah.
Continued success.
Likewise.
And thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.